My name is Michele Kelly. I am Audubon Nature Institute's stranding coordinator. I'm also the stranding coordinator for the whole state of Louisiana, which means all the coastline from the Texas to the Mississippi border. In stranding, I deal with marine mammals and sea turtles. Currently, right now, due to the oil spill, we're a very busy organization. We have 106 turtles in our rehabilitation facility, which is where we're standing. We're standing at the Aquatic Center of Audubon Nature Institute. We have next to me are all turtles that were recovered from the oil. They were brought in either by Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries or NOAA and their scientists who are out in the field looking for turtles that are in the oil. And once they find and locate the turtles, they will net them out of the oil, put them on a support boat, give them basic care in the field, check them out, make sure they're okay, that they're okay to stay in the boat, and consequently to move on to our rehabilitation facility here, which we are located an hour and a half away from the nearest coast. Once they arrive, once the sea turtles arrive here at Audubon Nature Institute's aquatic facility, we receive the animals, we photo ID the animals immediately, we tag the animals immediately because we have such a large quantity of animals, we have to be able to track them and their medical records throughout this whole process. Once they get in and they get their photos and they get their IDs, our veterinarian comes over, takes a quick look at them, and does a blood draw immediately. We want to pull their blood so that we can start to come up with a supportive care treatment for them. While that's going on, we have taken samples, yes, of the oil. That sample is treated as evidence. It is swabbed, it's put in tinfoil, it's put in an evidence bag, and it is sealed, and then it'll be sent out for testing for hydrocarbons later. So that process is all done on immediate intake. Then we go over, move the animal over, and we start cleaning the animal. We use mayonnaise to clean the animal's eyes because it's less abrasive and harmful to the animals. Also to clean the inside of their mouth, get the oil removed from their mouth. And almost all of our turtles came in with oil in their mouth, which meant they were eating something covered in oil. We get the oil removed from their mouths, from their eyes, and then we use vegetable oil on their bodies to remove the first layer of the oil. The oil is very sticky. I've often commented you could hang wallpaper with this oil because it is a very sticky type substance. Then we use dishwashing detergent to remove the rest of the oil from the body of the animal. And then once that's completed, the animal goes back to its attending veterinarian, the one who initially pulled the blood from the animal, and that veterinarian has already come up with its triage treatment that it needs immediately. And that would include fluids for the animal, antibiotics for the animal. We also have found that a lot of our sea turtles are coming in, they're borderline anemic, so we supply them with iron. We give them a vitamin treatment to kind of perk them up a little bit because they've had a long day, and we want to go ahead and get their systems moving. Once that's all completed, and we've done heart rate on them, and we've given them all of their fluids, all of their antibiotics, we then will tube the animal with mayonnaise and cod liver mixture. It's a 3-to-1 mixture. And that will go into their system, and that helps bind the oil that the animals may have digested while they were out in the Gulf of Mexico at that time. It'll bind to that and help pass it through their system. We were in the beginning using Toxiban, and you'll hear a lot about Toxiban. But with the sea turtles, it wasn't staying. They were actually regurging because it's very liquidy, and we needed something that was actually going to hold and bind to their system. So we switched to mayonnaise. This is there's no historical data on how to treat sea turtles that are covered in oil. This is the first run for everybody on this, and we have the most animals, to my knowledge, that are oiled here. And so we've been writing the book along with doing it as well. So we're learning as we go. We've had a really good success rate. I'm very proud of my team. They are an amazing group of people to work with.
How many people work with you?
Oh my goodness, between volunteers, veterinarians that have flown from other facilities, we rotate in around 30 people. So, and it takes that much to continue to give medical treatment to these animals, because just the first night they come in, they're not done. They still need medical treatment for the first month to 2 months, depending on how they're doing. We had one little guy who had pneumonia, and we had to nebulize him every day. So every day he had to go into a special container and receive inhalant antibiotics. So We very much have to keep an eye on the animals because, again, there's no historical data on the long-term effects of hydrocarbons on sea turtles. So we're watching them constantly. We're continuing to give them supportive care and fluids and antibiotics. They have 8 treatments of antibiotics every 3 days that they have to go through. And then we also have a whole husbandry team that tracks the feeding on the animals and does the water changes and watches their fecal and watches what they eat. Each animal has its own personality. One animal may like shrimp, one animal may like silversides, which is a small fish. Our husbandry department notes that, keeps records on all of that. If one day an animal only eats 2 shrimp, next day eats 2 shrimp again, the husbandry person goes, notifies the veterinarian staff saying, look, we don't think this guy's eating what he should be. He's not up to par. At that time, we can take the animal out, weigh him, see if he's lost weight, find out what's going on with him, why he's not eating. And we may also tube him more food in order for him to get his caloric count for that day.
All the animals have been affected differently. The birds are very different. I would almost think the birds are more fragile than turtles, but it really seems that the turtles are potentially more fragile in this process. There's been a high number of kill as opposed to ones that have been found alive. Has there been any toxicology or necropsies in terms of being able to determine the death of the ones that have died?
Yes. On all deceased animals on the sea turtle end, NOAA is performing those necropsies. They come in. We are a receiving facility for those carcasses. They are swabbed immediately for oil. They are necropsied, which is it's the animal version of a autopsy. And they do look for that. And if they find any residue of oil on the inside of the animal, then that is also sent out. It's preserved and sent out as well. So we are covering all bases. That's why you'll see, including myself, we can't always say that animal died of oil. It could be the animal died because you have to remember this time of year is stranding time for sea turtles anyway, minus an oil spill. So let's say an animal died in the Gulf of Mexico, and then it washed through. After it was already dead, it washed through the oil. So it may have exterior oiling, but no internal oiling. So we're ruling all of that out as we move along and as this all progresses.
So every carcass is truly being examined to determine, because one cause could be an ingestion, another could be something completely different. So you really do want to have some overall understanding of what the process is having on the animals, correct?
Yes. We go through... no stone is being left unturned. Let me put it that way. We are, and the same with our guys here. We're x-raying them. We're watching their fecal to see if they defecate any oil, to see if it's passing through their system, how much oil they have. And in deceased animals, we are definitely collecting all of that data. We're not just saying, oh, it's a deceased animal, move on. It's not that way at all. All of that information is collected and assimilated. It's not being lost.